We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful fall day coming into winter here in Oregon. And so Marisol is going to play our opening song, We Are Awakening, and we can all greet each other in the chat, say hello, and where you all are in the world. Thank you, Marisol. All right. So today I'm going to do a talk about being open. And I'm going to start with Awakening Together's statement of purpose. We are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, and awakening to one true self. Within the appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. So, Awakening Together has 5 core values that define its fundamental beliefs and guiding principles. I've chosen core value number 5 as my foundation of my talk. Core value number 5 states that we accept all forms as temporary appearances, permitted through enduring awareness of self. We live this value by honoring all appearances and all experiences while continually reflecting on changeless truth. So now we're going to do announcements. Thank you. Lots of exciting things going on. All right, Marisol, can you play my first song? And it's by Cortana. It's one of my favorites, Who You Really Are. Thank you. Okay, we're done. Thank you. Oh, that's enough. Oh my goodness. All right. Next is the invocation. So I invite you all just to relax if you're not already and take a breath and just remember who you really are. And with this breath, I soften. With this moment, I open. Here and now, I welcome what comes. I release what leaves. I rest in what is and trust the unfolding of all that moves through me. And so it is. Amen. All right. Olivia Shepherd has volunteered to be my reader. Thank you, Olivia. She's going to read excerpts from Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, from chapters 5, 6, and 7. And thank you, Living, for being willing to read today.
Oh, it's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much for asking, Michelle. All right, let me get myself situated here. Thank you for your patience as I get there. All right. Oh, and I keep going. Sorry. All right, I promise I'm okay. Here we go. Excerpts from Michael Singer's Untethered Soul, chapter 5, 6, and 7. You have a phenomenal amount of energy inside you. It doesn't come from food and it doesn't come from sleep. This energy is always available to you. At any moment, you can draw upon it. It just wells up and fills you from inside. When you're filled with this energy, you feel like you could take on the world. When it is flowing strongly, you can actually feel it coursing through your waves, coursing through you in waves. It gushes up spontaneously from deep inside and restores, replenishes, and recharges you. The only reason you don't feel this energy all the time is because you block it. You block it by closing your heart, by closing your mind, and by pulling yourself into a restrictive space inside. This closes you off from all the energy. When you close your heart or close your mind, you hide in the darkness within you. There is no light. There is no energy. There is nothing flowing. The energy is still there, but it can't get in. That is what it means to be blocked. That is why you have no energy when you're depressed. When you close your heart center, energy can't flow in. When energy can't flow in, there's darkness. Depending upon how closed you are, you either feel tremendous disturbance or overwhelming lethargy. Often people fluctuate between these two states. You have a wellspring of beautiful energy inside of you. When you are open, you feel it. When you are closed, you don't. This flow of energy comes from the depth of your being. You should know about this energy because it's yours. It's your birthright, and it's unlimited. You can call on it anytime you want. It doesn't get old, it doesn't get tired, and it doesn't need food. What it needs is openness and receptivity. When you close, the energy stops flowing. When you open, all the energy rushes up inside of you. The only thing you have to know is that opening allows energy in and closing blocks it out. There's a very simple method for staying open. You stay open by never closing. It's really that simple. All you have to do is decide whether you are willing to stay open or whether you think it's worth closing. You can actually train yourself to forget how to close. Closing is a habit, and just like any other habit, it can be broken. It's just a question of whether you want to close or whether you want to open. It's ultimately under your control. The problem is we don't exercise that control. Under normal circumstances, our state of openness is left to psychological factors. Basically, we are programmed to open or close based upon our past experiences. Impressions from the past are still inside of us, and they get stimulated by different events. If they were negative impressions, we tend to close. What is it about the structure of the heart center that permits it to close? What you will find is that the heart closes because it becomes blocked by stored, unfinished energy patterns from your past. As events take place in this world, they come in through your senses and have an impact on your inner state of being. The experience of these events may bring up some fear, some anxiety, or maybe some love. Different experiences happen inside because of how you take in and digest the world as it passes through you. If the energy patterns that are coming into your psyche create disturbance, you will resist them and not allow them to pass through. When you do this, the energy patterns actually get blocked within you. What if everything just passed right through? You take things in, you experience them, and then you let them pass through so that you're fully present in the next moment. You are fine. You're simply having experience after experience. Inevitably, something comes in that doesn't make it through. At the mental level, the impression didn't make it through. There's a blockage, an event that got stuck. All the subsequent experiences are trying to pass through you, but something has happened inside that has left this past experience unfinished. You will see that your tendency is to think about it constantly. This is all an attempt to find a way to process it through your mind. Because you resisted, it got stuck, and now you have a problem. Long term, the energy patterns then cannot make it through you are pushed out of the forefront of the mind and held until you are prepared to release them. These energy patterns, they don't just disappear. When you are unable to allow life's events to pass through you, they stay inside and become a problem. These patterns may be held within you for a very long time. The energy gets packed up and forced into deep storage within the heart. In the yogic tradition, that unfinished energy pattern is called a samskara. This is a Sanskrit word meaning impression. And in the yogic teachings, it is considered one of the most important influences affecting your life. A samskara is a blockage, an impression from the past. It's an unfinished energy pattern that ends up running your life. The heart is the place through which energy flows to sustain you. This energy inspires you and raises you. It is the strength that carries you through life. It is the beautiful experience of love that pours through your whole being. This is meant to be going on inside you at all times. The highest state you have ever experienced is simply the result of how open you were. If you don't close, it can be like that all the time. Simply allow the experiences of life to come in and pass through your being. If old energies come back up because you were unable to process them before, let go of them now. It's that easy. Just open, relax your heart, forgive, laugh, or do anything you want. Just don't push it back down. Of course, it hurts when it comes up. It was stored with pain. It's going to release with pain. You have to decide if you want to continue to walk around with stored pain, blocking your heart and limiting your life. The alternative is to be willing to let go when it gets stimulated. It only hurts for a minute and then it's over. Your heart will become accustomed to the process of releasing and cleansing. Just let it all happen. Get it over with. Stay centered and let go. You have the ability to not go with any of these thoughts. You can just sit in the seat of consciousness and let go. A thought or emotion emerges, you notice it, and it passes because you allow it to. This technique of freeing yourself is done with the understanding that thoughts and emotions are just objects of consciousness. When you see your heart start getting anxious, you are obviously aware of this experience. But who is aware? It is the consciousness, the indwelling being, the soul, the self, the biggest self. It is the seer, the one who sees. The changes you experience in your inner energy flow are simply objects of this consciousness. If you want to be free, then every time you feel any change in the energy flow, relax behind it. Don't fight with it. Don't try to change it. And don't judge it. You have to let them all go. But it's not just about letting go of thoughts and emotions. It's actually about letting go of the pull that the energy itself has on your consciousness. The disturbed energy is trying to draw your attention into it. Consciousness is a tremendously powerful force. When you concentrate on these thoughts and emotions, they become charged with energy and power. This is why thoughts and emotions get stronger the more attention you give them. We tend to let ourselves get bothered by the little meaningless things that happen every day. The moment you feel a change, relax your shoulders and relax the area around your heart. The moment the energy moves, you simply relax and release. Play with letting go and falling behind the sense of being bothered. Just decide that no matter what the mind says, you aren't getting involved. You don't fight the mind. In fact, you don't even try to change it. You just make a game out of relaxing in the face of its melodrama. You simply learn how to release the tendency for getting drawn into the energy. The root is where the consciousness is aware of the pull of these energies. You will see that the energy does have the power to draw you in. Just commit to not letting the energy draw you in. When you feel the pull, like somebody pulling on your heart, you just let go. You fall behind it. You simply relax and release. And no matter how many times you're pulled, that's how many times you relax and release. Because the tendency to get drawn in is constant. The willingness to let go and fall behind has to be constant. Your center of consciousness is always stronger than the energy that is pulling on it. You just have to be willing to exercise your will. If you can learn to remain centered with the smaller things, you will see that you can also remain centered with bigger things. Over time, you will find that you can even remain centered with the really big things. The types of events that would have destroyed you in the past can come and go. There's nothing wrong with being peaceful and centered as long as you are releasing the energy, not suppressing it. No matter what events take place in life, it is always better to let go rather than to close. Once you've let go, every minute of every day, year after year, then that's where you'll live. Nothing will be able to take your seat of consciousness from you. You'll learn to stay there.
Thank you, Livy. That was really long. Yes, thank you. So when I choose to do a Sunday gathering, I never know what the topic's going to be until the week of the service. It's because I find it just easier to speak from my current experience. So I'm going to begin with a story. Last December, my dad had a stroke, and it wasn't a really bad one, but it did cause him to have coordination problems, some memory issues, and slurred speech. My dad lives alone, and he needed help at home. He couldn't drive and needed someone there all the time. My two siblings and I took turns sleeping on his couch for 4 days at a time. We all live at least an hour from his house, and this went on for 3 months. I was running back and forth from his house, and I still had my responsibilities to take care of at home and people and dogs that relied upon me for support. I was tired, I was resentful and overwhelmed. I got depressed and didn't get out of bed unless I had to. All I was doing was taking care of everyone else and ignoring my own health and needs. This is an example of what Michael Singer calls blocked energy. My heart center was closed. I was blocked. My energy couldn't flow, and I was hiding in the darkness within. I was overwhelmed and lethargic. Finally, I realized I had to change and take care of myself. My dad was getting better, and I went to see him less. I started working out and going to lots of online retreats at Awakening Together. I realized I've been doing what I've been trying to make everyone happy and abandoning myself for others since I was a very small child. This is an example of a samskara. It stored unfinished energy patterns from my past that had been running my entire life. People pleasing was running my life. So in July, Anne told me about mind clearing. I tried some sessions and it was really helpful to have someone guide me through releasing these unfinished energy patterns that were blocking me. I've been doing mind clearing twice a week since August and also doing weekly dyads. And as a result, I had a clear seeing that I was not my thoughts. I was talking about a problem I was having with Anne, and she asked me, "Who thinks that thought?" And I've heard this before a million times, but at that point, I looked within, and it was clear that there was no one inside thinking anything. My thoughts were outside of me. As Michael Singer says, stay in the self, relax, and release. Don't give thoughts your attention. By believing thoughts, we're making them stronger. I felt like a huge burden had been lifted. I felt free. The block had been released and energy was flowing again. I was able to easily meditate without going to sleep for the first time. And journaling was finally possible. I was no longer believing the thoughts that I was writing on the paper. So in October, I went to Canada to do my first enlightenment intensive. And Cindy Krepp and I went to do this together. And it was 3 days of contemplating, who am I? From 6 a.m. to 11:30 p.m., a continuous meditation on my question of who am I? I'm sure some of you have done intensives. So it was a total of 35 dyads over 3 days. It was a direct looking, 140 times asked the question, who am I? Realizing that the question didn't really have an answer. But what it did was stop my mind by looking for someone or something inside of me and finding nothing was there. The result was a feeling of empty fullness, causeless joy, and opening to everything. Just being open and flowing consciousness, just with what is. Michael Singer says that all we need is openness and receptivity to allow this energy to flow. I also discovered that I had a samskara, this unfinished energy pattern from the past that created a disturbance. It wasn't allowed to pass through. It was a hidden belief that I was just like my mother, and I needed to protect others from the monster inside. Just a weird rendition of I am bad. This is the reason I'd been resisting looking within for years. This belief was what was blocking me for so long. By looking at who I was at the intensive, I discovered that there was no monster hiding inside. It was like turning on the light and looking under the bed to find no monster hiding there. So after 4 days on the intensive, my mind was very quiet. I walked away from the intensive with a clear feeling of openness to everything. The openness was from my heart. It was acceptance and love for everything. Tears of release, feeling presence and love. I was in love with life. So my new spiritual aspiration at that point was to stay open and never close. I didn't want to close ever again. This openness was just, with life, was just beautiful. Just like Michael Singer says in The Untethered Soul, you stay open by never closing. And that closing is a habit, just like any other habit, it can be broken. So then I got a call from my dad, who was in the ER because he had passed out while grocery shopping. The thought was, oh my God, here we go again. I could feel the resistance to wanting to go and care for him. I was scared that it would be the same. I would have to give myself up again. My heart constricted. The samskara was triggered. Where was the peace? Where was the openness? I was angry, I was upset, and I couldn't see any way out of having to give up my new freedom to take care of him. The question that Michael Singer proposes is, am I willing to allow this to flow through me, or is it worth it to close? Can I relax and release in the face of my mind's melodrama? I journaled and discovered that this was the perfect opportunity to stay in the seat of the self, of who I am in truth, and to not abandon myself and do what needed to be done. This situation was for my healing. It allowed me to practice. I could practice helping without leaving myself. I could ask, what am I to do now? And trust the answer. So before I went to help him, I did an exercise that I learned in mind clearing training about having affinity for somebody, to choose to like someone. So the exercise is, let's see, I'm going to need to make sure I can see myself here. You can see the pen. This is a pen, right? It's pretty neutral. Can I have affinity for this pen? So now get a feeling of not liking the pen and observe what comes up. Might have some judgments. Might not like black. You might prefer blue. Yeah, observe what it feels like to not like this pen. And now get a feeling of neutrality towards the pen. You don't like it, you don't dislike it. It's just a pen. Now get a feeling of liking this pen. Open up to it. Maybe it's useful. Maybe you like black pens. So in this exercise, I discovered that I could open up and love the pen and not feel anything about the pen, not feel anything about it, or close down. And I felt when I closed to it, I was judging it. I disliked it. And what I discovered is I had a choice. I could open or close. It just, where did I want to place my attention? I had a choice on where I was coming from. The truth of who I am, or from my mind's melodrama. So I went to my father's. I chose to stay open to whatever happened that day. I chose to love him in the situation that he was in. We went to the bank, we did grocery shopping, and we had dinner together. It was a lovely day, and my father was doing something he hadn't done in years. He was being silly. And I can attribute it to my openness. He was free to be in that moment because I was open to whatever happened in that moment. It's probably one of the best days I've had with him in a long time. So what I've learned is just decide that no matter what the mind says, I'm not getting involved. It's just another object in my consciousness. When I saw that I was not my thoughts, it was a bizarre experience in that I saw them as like outside of me, like this bubble in a cartoon. And somehow these thoughts were coming, but they weren't who I was. I can choose to remember who I am and relax and allow the energy to pass through, to not fight it, to not try to change it, to not judge it. Just consistently choose to be open and receptive to what is here right now. Thank you. So Marisol, can you play the second song, Awake by Peter Mayer? And now's the time where we can donate to Awakening Together. You can either go to the Awakening Together website, awakening-together.org, and click on the donation button, or use the QR code on the screen. Thank you. Thank you, Marisol. So now is the time we have open sharing. If anybody would like to speak up, raise your hand or just unmute.
Well, Diane, I don't know if you or I were first, but since I get the mic open, I'll just go ahead and talk real quick here. Michelle, that was a very wonderful, timely homily for me. Just that little exercise in knowing that I've got the choice to work through what seems to be thrust upon you. And that's right now, I don't feel like something's thrust upon me, but I feel a little stagnant. And but I could see that that is a choice. And it's not limiting unless I choose to remain in that. So I just want to thank you for that. That helps right now, and that's why we're here together. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Diane?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I just want to say how much I love you, Michelle. This was so beautiful. My heart is so open right now. This is very similar to what I've been wanting to play with. This is our playground, and it is to stay open, empty, and free. So it's very similar to what you're saying. And right now it's to stay with it, stay with the discomfort, not abandoning myself. And I can see how I also was so closed off. I would just abandon myself. I was just so much into the reactivity, like the thoughts. And now I'm just like, my cat wants my attention right now. So, it's just to, like, it's amazing. Like, you found a recipe for to be free. And it's just I have so much gratitude right now. So I cry, and then for me, I don't know how your energy is coming out. For me, it's a lot of giggles. So there's a lot of crying, and then it it transmutes into giggles. So I say thank you all the time. Like, thank you for the tears, and then thank you for the giggles, because this is allowing the energy to move. And before, I was blocked. I was in my mind. I was not in the present moment. And I see that's what you're doing right now, is you're staying present with your dad. And I have the same issue with my mom. She's in a nursing home, and being with a place where there's about 60 elderlies with different issues. And this is my perfect practice to be open, empty, and free, and to allow these energies of, when I see it, I feel it, when the tendency to close off, I'm not safe, there's something, and then the blaming, there's something wrong here, this shouldn't happen. So it's fabulous, and I have a lot of gratitude for you guys, for the community, and for you, Michelle, for today. I'm glad I showed up. So thank you very much. I love you guys. Love you.
Thank you. My experience lately is tears are just here for all kinds of reasons. I'm not
Yes,
much.
me too. It's just, okay, tears wants to come. Yay. And before, it was no, no. Even like, I just came up because I kind of knew I was going to cry, and I don't want my husband to see me cry. But now I'm being, oh, why? Why? Like, there's nothing wrong with tears. So thank you very much. I love you.
Beautiful tears of release. Thank you. Jan?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. And Michelle, I loved you relating that wonderful moment with your dad where he was being all giggly and silly. And that really resonates with me. I was blessed to have a silly mother, and that was one of the ways that she expressed her love. And for myself, the ability to be silly, which I love and look for those opportunities. I see that I'm careful when and where I'm silly, because it's not something that people are always comfortable with. So anyway, what a blessing to share that moment with your dad. Thank you.
Thank you. Got just a few minutes left. Anybody else have a comment? Or we can play my last song. Okay. I just want to thank you for this beautiful space of openness and love that comes from this community. I am so grateful. So this last song is kind of, I was questioning it a little bit because it's kind of relates, you could take it in many different ways, but it's Wide Open Spaces by Dixie Chicks. It just opens my heart when I hear it, so I figured this is perfect. It reminds me of my journey into greater freedom, being authentic. Stop living by old roles and start following your inner truth and trusting the path. And mistakes will be made. And the wide open spaces just, it just feels like my heart is wide open. Being curious, being present, receptive, instead of, closed down in the fear. So that's why I chose this one. All right, Marisol, it's all yours. We're going to have a half-hour discussion with those that want to join.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.